You're listening to the Jiu Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett. I'm guessing you're having a good day because either you've been on the mats, are considering getting on the mats, or maybe taking your future self to train. I'm so happy you're here listening or watching this episode. Please don't tap out before the end. When you want to improve your mental health and work through past trauma, start training Jiu Jitsu. I'd like to welcome Sandra Hinz to my podcast. Hi, Sandra. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for joining me. So in my intro, I spoke about, when you want to improve your mental health and work through your past trauma, this is very key to your story and your journey. So we'll kind of pause that bit for now. And I want to know when you started training jiu-jitsu and how you kind of got into it.
I think I started around 2019 and in September, and it was both because of my brother and then some past experiences that I kind of wanted to overcome and also gain confidence at the same time.
That's really good. And I think, some of us, I didn't know what I was letting myself in for when I started training jiu-jitsu, didn't have a clue, but I'm in a much stronger and much more resilient place now for it. So you've been training for a good number of years and you're a blue belt.
Yeah.
Tell me about your jiu-jitsu journey and how easy or tough or challenging it may have been.
It's been really tough, to be honest, but it's been so incredibly fun at the same time. I feel like as well the hard times helped me develop for the present.
Yeah.
So especially when you've quite often been the only girl on the mat as well, it's become even harder. That's why I'm also passionate about getting other girls to train as well.
Yay! Oh, fantastic. Sorry for my outburst, everyone. I love it when I hear that other women want to encourage other women to be on the mats. It's such a wonderful place. And I think, it's that unspokenness when you're there. There's that balance of actually this is our space, but to grow and develop ourselves is to encourage others to join and to be part of something quite incredible and amazing. Yeah. So tell us about the really exciting times, and then we'll come back to the challenging and tough times in a bit.
I think some of the really exciting ones is at the times where you kind of started to connect things and understand the game a bit more. Because in the beginning, you're just swimming in the deep end. But now I don't know that much, but at least I start to grasp the concepts of everything.
Yes.
So for me, it's going a little bit further up.
Nice. So do you have some moves that you really like, or some positions that are Sandra's positions?
Omoplata and North and South.
Okay. Why the omoplata? I've seen it demonstrated. I couldn't give you a full description right now, but anyone that does train jiu-jitsu will know what an omoplata is.
It kind of, I don't know. I just watched other higher level competitors, especially the ladies that like to do it as well. For me, it kind of became like a bridge between the size difference as well. Yeah. Because I like to use my legs a lot to even out the difference between the boys and the girls.
Nice. I love that. So north-south, I kind of, is that a progression from, obviously, no, before omoplata, because omoplata is a submission. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, that's fine. At least, okay. I've just notched a little notch in my white belt of knowledge there. Yeah. So north south.
Yeah.
Why and how and what does that give you in your game?
I feel like for me it's a better control position for me because I feel kind of frozen in the other position sometimes. I like I like mount as well, but
Yeah.
I've discovered that I'm quite comfortable when I can get to the north and south position.
Oh,
Yeah, because there's a lot
nice.
of chokes as well. Once again, if you compare it to me being the smaller grappler, where you
Yeah.
can get a lot of pressure as well when you do the chokes, for example.
Yeah.
So,
Nice. I
so it
love
kind of
that.
stuck with me.
I love that. It's about developing our game and finding positions that work for our body type or our,
Yeah.
style of jiu-jitsu. Love it. So let's talk about some of the tougher times through your jiu-jitsu journey.
Oh boy. Nah, I feel like I said, with just being the only girl, I
Yeah.
always love going to practice, but there are some days where you're just like, I wish I had someone that could completely understand what it's like to like go through these different things, like with the when when you have a triggering situation or when
Yeah.
you're going up against a much bigger opponent. There are days when you just get tired in your head, like your mental health starts
Yeah.
escalating a bit.
Yeah.
You always,
Absolutely.
yeah, you always process it in the end, but there are like some days can be quite heavy.
Yeah, I really appreciate that and kind of want to hold space for you because, that I think, all of us can be triggered if we're
Mm.
connecting. It's such a mindful game. There's
Yeah,
a lot of thinking, there's a lot of strategy that certainly goes on in my head, probably yours as well, and anyone
yeah,
else that's listening. And when you have a physical trigger, your mind can almost set you back
mm,
away from the technique that you're thinking about to
yeah,
somewhere very different. And then once your mindset and your thoughts are taken away from the present moment,
yeah,
I know occasionally I've had to walk off the mats
mm,
because of certain triggers,
yeah,
and that's really hard for people to understand. Even if you're hiding the tears and
mm,
walk away and then come back completely composed,
mm,
that still has happened and been in that space. So, that there's a lot of care and consideration, but also I guess on the flip side, it's having, if people don't understand, actually, sometimes that's also okay
yeah,
because you can then snap out of your
mm.
situation and your mindset to get back into the space of training.
I've been lucky as well because my teammates, they're also encouraging as well. They know a lot of my past struggles as well. I've been open with it because,
Yeah.
like I said, I want to help others that might be in the same situation or have similar experiences as well.
Yes. And that's really good. And I think, so much of the training is, I've seen a shift where there's a lot more communication and a lot more understanding of each
Mm,
other. And there's time to do that
mm,
during training. It's not a kind of tight, serious thing. It's
yeah,
very much more playful, understanding, getting ready, getting our gis on,
yeah,
there's support. And I think that's, ultimately important. But there is also that level of trust in
yeah,
you taking that step to get onto the mats in the first place,
yeah,
knowing that it would be a safe space
yeah.
for you as a female.
For me, it's also helped a lot because I've have had a diagnosis of both autism spectrum disorder since 2011, I think, and I just got diagnosed with ADHD as well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's been one of the best outlets as well in that sense because I need to be present and I can focus and I get this calm inside my head, even
Yeah.
when you're under a lot of pressure, when you're sparring, for example.
Yeah.
It's kind of like meditation for me. So for me, it's helped a lot.
I love it. I love the thought of the meditation.
Yeah.
I've played through in my head. I haven't yet competed. We'll get onto your competitions in a minute.
Yeah.
But I imagine really slowing down the game, taking things at my pace. And, at the very, very beginning, I'm not sure whether you had this, at the very beginning of my kind of white belt journey, I kind of imagine pulling on chokes or arm bars. I mean, I couldn't do them in real life, but in my head, I'm like, okay, this is going in, that's happening, and it's all there. So how do you deal with the kind of, what happens for you when you go into this kind of meditative state when you're training and sparring?
I feel like, to be honest, I don't have a lot of thoughts when I go into this. I just try to react to my opponent.
Nice.
That's when I finally get some peace in my head, so that I just have fun with it.
I love it. So the flip side, it's being present with what's exactly happening. Yeah. So it's an opportunity to push all of those thoughts out of your head and just to be present and in that moment. That's fantastic. Yeah. And I think, it gives us so much joy to be in that space. I'm a parent. I have a lot of responsibilities, and, having that time in the way that you've just suggested, that's bliss. That's child-free time, even though the kids are around and might be, training on another mat. That's a joy.
I think another important aspect as well is that the older we get, we kind of tend to forget to play, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So this is our time to actually enjoy ourselves, move, and have fun.
I remember in one of the first episodes, I likened the training mats to, putting a kid in a play gym. It's exactly that. I'm still to knee slide down the mats. I don't think they're quite slippy enough, but I need to find a gym with slippy mats, and where you can do hip escapes really easily. My gi always gets caught on the back, and then I feel like I'm half undressed after a hip escape, but there we go. Okay, so let's talk about your competitions, because I know you've competed in 3 competitions and you have a couple coming up.
Yeah, I have one coming up really soon in a few days that I'm really excited about. And then I have in a couple of months that is in Denmark as well. That's a bit bigger, I think.
Fantastic. So all of your competitions so far have been local. So tell me about your build up and experience going into those competitions.
For me, it's kind of been like this kind of madness thing. No, but I can't feel nerves before, to be honest. It always surprises me, and it feels kind of surreal leading up to a competition. But when I'm finally there, that's when the nerves hit. So I'm dealing with everything at once.
Good. And how did you get on? What's your kind of success rate?
Well, I haven't won any matches yet. But I've always learned a lot from the matches so far. So I always try to bring that into the next one and work on that. And as long as I bring something with me, that's a win to me, and that I step onto the mat as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were talking before about the, some of us get to compete, some of us don't want to compete, but actually at the end of the day, there's still a relatively small percentage of us that do step on the mats to compete. And, it's a great thing, and there's lots of learning to come. There's me talking about competitions. I've not even done one yet, people. Okay, I'm lined up to compete very soon this year. And I will just be happy to be there. I feel like the community spirit and the energy from these large scale events with people you don't know, that's the most amazing thing. And being able to potentially see them again in a different country or a different location, for me, I'm expanding my international network and friends around the world. Yeah. Oh, we'll have to have a little trip to Sweden at some point soon.
That would be amazing.
So opportunity to travel. Will travel.
Yeah, you're always welcome.
Oh, thank you, Sandra.
For everyone that wants to visit as well. We're always happy for visitors as well.
Fantastic. So you've walked away with medals, even though you've not won matches.
Yeah.
So
it's mostly default. Yeah.
Okay. So explain the concept of a default medal, just for anyone that doesn't understand.
It's kind of like it kind of depends if, let's say that I don't have enough competitors in my bracket. We could be like 3 people maybe. That means I automatically get onto the podium as well. So I get a medal anyway. But I haven't really won it in that sense.
Okay. I think walking away with the learning and experience, but of course, walking away with a medal might feel fantastic.
Yeah, it always feels nice. Especially what I love as well about competing is that it can feel like you're trying to kill each other on the mat, but afterwards you're like the best of friends as well. You get to meet all these amazing women or men for that matter. For me, that's one of the most important aspects of competing for me, networking and getting to know other people.
Absolutely. This is the Jiu-Jitsu Lou podcast with me, Lou Temlett, coming to you from the UK. When you're ready to pick up some Jiu-Jitsu Lou merch, head over to jiu-jitsulou.com/shop. And if you're looking for a discount code, sign up to my newsletter. Today, I'm having a conversation with Sandra Hinz. Sandra, so we at the top of the show, we talked about your future self and overcoming past trauma. So I kind of want to frame the future self piece in a positive way, because when we start training jiu-jitsu, some of us have no expectations. And coming out of that, we walk away different from the mats. Each training session, there's something different to take away. Likewise, there's something different to take away from every competition. So tell me about your experience and how good it feels to have that future self for you particularly.
For me, it feels really nice because I know kind of what I want down the line as well. Because like I mentioned before about more ladies stepping onto the mat, I want that to be my future legacy as well. That I can be a part of helping other ladies onto the mat, like the ladies I've gotten to know so far has helped me, and is always helping me with support. That's very important to me for my future self.
Absolutely. And that's really admirable. So if any of you have, obviously some of you, most of you have female friends, encourage them to step on the mats, encourage them to come along to a session with you, because, anyone that does just has an amazing experience of community, network, growth. I'm sure you can relate, Sandra. Every female is there to support you and build you up.
Yeah.
And that's just a fantastic space. Sometimes in life we can be quite isolated from different people, certainly since, the working from home concept. But actually to meet people in person, to fight with them and pretend you're going to kill them is another story. But pretend, by the way, we're all in it, for the well-being. But it just gives it a completely different dimension to life, one that I never expected.
Yeah, for me, my teammates as well, they become like my second family. They are the ones that, whether I had a bad day or a happy day, I always think of letting them know, because that's my safe space and that's my happy place. Absolutely,
I agree. And I think the friendships continue on and off the mats.
Yeah.
It's just such a wider expanse of a network that is ultimately there to support and to build us up and grow us into stronger, more resilient human beings.
Yeah.
That may one day stand on the top of that podium with a gold medal.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Okay, that might not be a good tactic on the mats, but fingers crossed for everyone now. Oh, okay. So we spoke about past trauma, and I know you're comfortable talking about that. How has that affected your life before training Brazilian Jiu Jitsu?
I turned even more introverted in the beginning, and that's what I felt with my jiu-jitsu journey as well, that I've kind of opened up a lot more and I've gained more confidence. For me, day one when I stepped onto the mat, it feels like a completely different story.
Yeah.
Now I'm one of the people that can like chat openly to people, welcome them. I'm like I don't even know how to describe it.
You have that lived experience where you can sense and understand others,
Yeah.
and take them at face value. Everyone is equal on the mats.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the joys. We're literally on the same level,
Yeah.
on the same playing fields,
Yeah.
on the same kind of jiu-jitsu mats, and dress the same. I was having a conversation with my daughter, and who's 6, and she doesn't even really recognize the color of the belts. Everyone is equal in that space, and obviously it's that there's more dynamics, but as a child looking in, we are all equal. And I just feel like that's such a humble, honest way of perceiving Brazilian Jiu Jitsu as well.
Yeah, I feel like all the labels just disappear.
Yeah.
And that's what I like, because quite often in life, people tend to put us into different boxes instead of actually asking, like, what is it really like being you?
Yeah.
They put labels on us, but this kind of falls away with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And you feel appreciated the way you are. So.
Yes. I agree, and there's room and space for everyone and anyone, and I think that's the joy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I may well be heading for a competition very soon. What advice do you have?
I think don't think too much about it, just have fun. I think that's one of the most important aspects, because it's quite often really easy to put high expectations of yourself, but you shouldn't forget to just enjoy the moment at the same time. So.
Yeah, that's good. That's what they say about getting married as well, but enjoy the moment. I'm divorced a couple of times, seriously. Okay, yes, enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
For what it's worth. I agree. Any other training advice or tips for competition?
I feel like not really in competition particularly, but don't be afraid to let people know, like when we were talking about the women on the mat.
Yeah.
If you're new to the game, like don't be afraid to ask higher belts to partner up with you, because the white belt men can be a bit that's crazy because they don't know.
Yes,
they don't know how to control the body yet.
Yes, I think some of us, almost all of us that have been on the mats, experience new white belt syndrome or condition, and that's okay. We've all been there, and we can all reflect and look back and go, "Oh, that reminds me of me when I first started." Live and learn. We all have to go through that process, I think.
Yeah.
So the tips are asking higher belts to train and kind of practice.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to tap. Just tap. If you're uncomfortable, tap.
Yeah.
Like, don't push yourself too far. It's not losing because you tap, it's learning.
Yes, I love that. So you've got your 2 competitions coming up. What aspirations? Because we talked about the future self. I have a feeling like you have something bigger in your jiu-jitsu mind. Are you happy to share?
I kind of my goals right now is actually to place on the podium, but by winning.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, well, everyone, we will all will and wish Sandra to be top place on that podium for every future competition. We'll be looking out on your social, Sandra. Anything else before we cascade into a space of laughter and frivolity?
Nah, I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me on.
You are very welcome.
Like I mentioned before, like when I've been talking to you, is that I'm not the most comfortable when it comes to public speaking. So for me, this was a challenge in itself, but I felt like the message you're spreading is so important to me. So I wanted to challenge myself for that.
Thank you. And I think, the whole of the jiu-jitsu journey, you've just demonstrated it perfectly, challenging yourself to go that one step further that will take you out of your comfort zone, because, being in the comfort zone is lovely, but what if you were to take yet another step? So, Sandra, how can people follow your journey?
You can follow me on Instagram on Sandy_BJJ.
Fabulous. I will pop the link in the show notes, and I'm sure you will see reel reels even. I'm a bit old school on socials. Old school, but new school. Right. Okay, Sandra, thank you so much. Let's encourage more and more women to start training jiu-jitsu and have this safe space to be, exist, train, and have personal growth.
Definitely.
Great
Thank
stuff.
you so much for having me.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Thank you so much for telling your friends about the show. To get notified about upcoming guests and special offers, sign up to my newsletter at jujitsulu.com. Thanks again for listening. Catch you on the next episode of the Jiu Jitsu Lu podcast.